I'm sending out this message because this is very, very important. Humanity will never stand a chance to truly make any real change without understanding the essence of right action, what it really is. Now, the term right action is actually very familiar to those who actually who are Buddhist or know of Buddhism. But this is not about Buddhism. This is not about religion in general. This is just a general common sense principle people have to actually understand. Because if we don't understand it, we're never going to get anywhere as a species. What use is all the things you do if you don't consistently choose right action over wrong action all the time on a daily basis? I mean, I'm not here to advocate or preach anything dogmatic or some other nonsense, because this is not what I'm about. I'm not about trying to preach something that's you have to go by, but right action is something people should consistently live by. And my definition of right action may be a little different than what you've been taught. You know, living by right action is not based on some set of spiritual, some dogmatic principles or anything like that. It's just based on common sense. When I talk about right action, these are the things I want to say. Right action, for example. One part of right action is courage. The fact that most people in their lives don't have courage. Most people are, in blunt terms, are just a bunch of cowards that actually are willing to conform to anything because of the fact they want to fit in and be with the herd, be with the crowd. Herd mentality is a form of wrong action, but you know what? Let's get back to the courage part. The fact that courage is something that people have to muster up. I mean, humanity is never going to stand a chance if you don't muster up courage. It's not something you can, unfortunately, you cannot force something like courage on people. But the good news is that you can build it up. You're going to have to just take it slow. And this goes into what I always talk about, how humanity is such a traumatized species. They have all this fear within them because throughout the whole entire lives they've been taught to fear. Fear this, fear that by so-called authority figures or people looking out for them. I put that in quotes, obviously. You know, they've been constantly or taught to fear something. And when you're always taught to fear something, you're actually going to realize that you have no sense of courage within yourself, no true courage. Because of the fact that courage is like a muscle. You have to just work. You have to learn to work it. At first, it's hard to work it because you have to go through all the soreness and all that crazy stuff. It's like when you're lifting weights or doing some kind of exercise, you haven't done, especially if you haven't done it in a long time, you realize you're gonna feel really sore, and the next day, or at least 24 hours later, you're just gonna feel really bad. You're gonna feel like, oh my goodness, I'm so sore. I can use a massage. Whew. It's like that, and it's just uncomfortable. It's kind of like when your ribs are sore after. Your upper ribs are sore after doing push-ups because of the fact that there's a part of your upper rib that's a part of your chest muscles, and it's connected to the fact your chest muscles are sore. But like I said, that's what it reminds me of. It's hard to work. Courage is one of those things that you have to muster. Another form of right action. Complete transparency, honesty, and integrity. The fact that we live in a society that actually does not value integrity because of the fact that people have been valued to be fake. You know, it's all about always trying to make someone else feel good or make someone else feel comfortable, which leads to this whole lack of integrity, this whole fakeness mentality, actually showing emotions that you truly don't have just to make someone else feel better, just to make someone else smile. The fact that we live in a society that discourages people from truly actually being honest about our emotions, and the fact that we haven't been properly taught to actually process and express these emotions, along with the fact that a lot of people are not equipped to actually help people who go through certain emotional issues and so forth. We live in a society where people are told that you need to just worry about just survival at all costs. This whole don't worry about what's going on in your mind, just worry about what's out there. Be happy you're not sick or ill, or disabled. Just keep going. Not understanding that mental health is just as important as physical health. If your mental health falls, your physical health is sure to fall with it. Your mental health and your physical health are connected. And a lot of people don't understand that. And we live and it just goes into this whole, I'm going to get into the entire topic of fakeness in society, but that's the problem. The lack of integrity. We live in a society where people can't just be honest with one another. And it doesn't help that political correctness has added to this. And political correctness is one of the social diseases that needs to be eradicated as soon as possible. But that's not, I don't believe that's going to be eradicated. I don't believe that's going to be eradicated unless society collapses. My personal opinion. And then the way human society is going right now, or this country in general, don't be surprised if we are going to be heading towards a collapse. Because right now, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you always hear about how this is going to happen, and it never happens. Another year, more business as usual. But like I said, integrity. The fact that you see it in the world where people lack integrity, people don't even speak what they preach. Don't even practice what they preach. That's another problem with integrity. The fact they say they're for something, but they're for something else. This goes into the fact that people lack integrity in the name of getting ahead, or in the name of actually pleasing their masters. It's a shame, though, that integrity is it's all but dead in society. That's one of the main reasons why you can't trust anyone, because of the lack of integrity. Now, what else in the body of right action? Right action is pretty much choosing the moral. How should I rephrase that? Yeah, right action. Right action should be objective. Exactly. Practice objective right. Knowing objective what right is in objective sense. Right is any action that doesn't harm another individual. Choosing actions that don't harm an individual. That's one of the biggest essences of right action. Taking the right action, not the wrong action. Wrong action is anything that's out of harmony with nature, which means that you actually are harming another individual or doing something that's of harm to another individual. When you're actually speaking to someone or working with someone, there's a lot of wrong action in society because of the fact that people just don't understand right and wrong from an objective perspective, nor they even care. And people try to preach and tell you that right and wrong is something that, it's a construct, which is a lot of BS. It's not a construct. If you say it's a construct, then that makes you a supporter of evil and tyranny. Because, like I said, there's no famous time in history that thought of themselves as an evil individual. They thought they were doing the right thing, but no, they're just a bunch of moral relativist clowns. People buying into moral relativism. Moral relativism is not right action. Choosing right action is actually doing things that are in harmony with universal law. That's really what it is. And another thing, right action is choosing to stand up, no matter how uncomfortable it is, to always speak out against all forms of evil and tyranny in your midst. It doesn't matter. You gotta speak out. It doesn't matter who this person is or what their title is. That's imaginary in nature. You always have to speak out. One of the biggest forms of wrong action that this collective in the States, this collective practice is actually herd mentality. They think it's patriotism. They think it's patriotism to actually just conform to what government's doing, no matter what, unquestionable, no matter how evil, vile it is. This whole hypocrisy known as exceptionalism, for example. That's a grave form of wrong action. And that's why karmatically, collectively, people are going to have to pay dearly for that in the long run. And I've seen it happening now, especially with the migrant crisis around the world. People actually, I talk about collective karma all the time. Well, not all the time. It's something I rarely talk about. But people need to understand that what goes around does come around. That if people choose these wrong actions, it's going to come back to either haunt you or your children. And I'm not saying that, and it's not me saying that, it's just historically a fact. You take a look at how today you see a lot of these victim abuser roles constantly keep getting reversed in certain ways. If you know how to pay attention to what is going on. And I thought that true patriotism was supposed to be about standing up for freedom and defending natural rights and so forth. Not just blind conformity and herd-like mentality. People have become a bunch of pigs and sheep. They think that it's actually fashionable to go along with the crowd or to actually worship the flag and its ideology. Worshipping a flag. That's what they're doing. I don't care what that is. I don't care if that upsets you. I'm just telling how it is. I don't care what your grievances are, what your response to that is. Because like I said, I don't take people seriously. I don't take the world seriously. because of the fact that many people are just a bunch of cartoon jokes. A lot of people are just cartoons walking around with cartoon mentalities. So whatever you're saying to me is just a big fat joke. I know what I'm talking about. So sit down for a minute and learn something for once. Get your lazy ass off the couch and learn something for once. Stop watching that idiot box and listen to some real words of truth and wisdom. Anyways, like I said, I thought real patriotism was supposed to be about standing up for rights, not blind conformity to an entity called a country or a culture. What patriotism has what currently become is this form of cultism. There's many cultisms within a society, and that's one of them. Yeah, be upset all you want, but I don't care, because I'm telling you what is. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm sorry that the truth has to be so harsh, but you know what? That's something you're gonna have to learn to deal with. But like I said, it's a grave form of wrong action. It's not right action to conform and blindly worship and actually give your allegiance or loyalty to any group out there, and particularly any hierarchical group out there. It's a form of wrong action because of the fact that you're giving you're sacrificing your free will and you're giving it away on a golden platter. That's a gift given to you by creation, your free will. But people have no clue. People either they abuse their sense of free will by trying to take away their free wills from others through controlling other people and trying to enslave them, make them suffer, or they just, don't know they have it at all. Most people have been conditioned to believing they don't have this because of the way the system's set up for people to actually think that you need to give your power away to someone else. I'm not a perfect individual. I'm nothing special. I'm anything but special. I'm just some regular individual. I have nothing special about myself, and I'm not trying to hold myself to some standard that is not beyond me. We're all not perfect. We all make mistakes. We all mess up. But let me tell you something. It's not hard to live in right action right action, what it really is just doing the right thing when you can, when possible, and consistently. It doesn't mean, I understand we're not perfect and we can't live by this 100%, but people choose to live by this not even, oh my goodness, not even 60, 70% of the time. Well, 60% and 70% is a low number. We need to be living by at least 80 to 90% of the time. At the worst. Most people do it below 50. That's the reason why we're in the mess we're in now. That's really what right action is from a common sense, down to earth perspective. And don't get me started with right livelihood. Most people actually don't live in right livelihood. They work in institutions that further the suffering of humanity. Right livelihood is supposed to be living in the right livelihood. You're supposed to actually live, in other words, that involves you not doing work that harms other people. That's right livelihood. And like I said, this is not about preaching religion. This is just about common sense. It's not about religion at all. I talk about how we need to not put our beliefs, our minds in one basket. I always talk about that all the time. But no, people want to do that. They think that there has to be one linear belief system, and it's true. If that's the case, then you would not know about it. Because the powers that shouldn't be will sure as hell make sure that people will not know about it on a collective scale, that's for sure. They're going to want to take that belief system and hide it. They want to give it to those few people that are part of their ranks. Compartmentalization is a fact. You need to go look it up. Compartmentalizing the hierarchy. A lot of people don't understand this fundamental thing about compartmentalizing hierarchy, but that's just the truth. And I might just write an article on this too, because like I said, I'm not much of a good speaker. But we live in a day and age where people have short attention spans, and they're more likely to watch a video than to read an article. So I'm going to write an article about this, and when I do, I'm going to link to it, because this is a very important topic, and I'll be able to explain what right action is much better through writing. Because I'm garbage when it comes to speaking. And I wish more people would view my website so you'll understand how good of a writer I am compared to I'm a speaker. But that's it for now. Like I said, take it or leave it. It's your problem. That's maybe that should be my catchphrase or something. I don't know. Or take it or leave it. It's in your hands. I already did my job.